Becky DeYoung. I am a counselor for the Livingston County, Oakland County, parts of Wayne, parts of Macomb. I'm just about everywhere. My specialty is retail. I worked in a grocery store industry for about, we'll say a couple years. So I'm very familiar with working with retailers, anywhere from your small independents to working with distributors, to working with your larger box stores, Meijer, Kroger, so forth and so on. We started this retail panel almost 3 years ago, and it was such an overwhelming response for all the attendees because it's a wealth of information. This is just a general introduction. So what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce the buyers, introduce our distributors, let them tell you a little bit about themselves and how they choose products for their individual companies, and we will do question and answer, okay? This hour flies by very quickly, so try and keep your questions as precise as possible. If I feel you're getting long-winded, I will cut you off so we can just make sure everybody has time to talk, okay? So again, my name is Becky DeYoung. If you have any questions for the panel, please just raise your hand if you need to stand. If you can't hear the panel, please let us know. These people in the back, I have a big mouth so everybody hears me, but we'll go from there, okay? So we're first and foremost going to start with my good friend, Evan Smith from Cherry Capital Foods.
That's right.
And Evan is from the Traverse City area, and he is a distributor that works mostly northern, and he is going to speak on behalf of a distributor perspective.
Cherry Capital Foods is a broadline distributor in that we handle proteins, we handle grocery items, and we handle produce. But we don't handle any paper products or that sort of thing. But the thing that makes us unique is that we specialize in products that are grown or processed in Michigan, and we only sell within the state of Michigan. We started in Traverse City about 6 or 7 years ago, and I have a background in processing, and I have sat where you folks are for about 8 years with a company called Food for Thought. And we struggled with distribution, with trying to get our product out, how to make it work, how to connect from northern Michigan to southeast Michigan and other markets. And one of the things that I have taken as that from that experience and brought to Cherry Capital Foods is that process of nurturing smaller and startup companies in a way that bigger distributors quite often can't do. And so our process is very similar to the process you're going to hear about from both Scott and from Justin, in that we begin by you bringing us your product, or us seeking you out if we happen to come to a show like this. But the bottom line is, the first question we ask is, have you worked with the product center? That's really the first question, because that will let us know where you are organizationally and developmentally, if you understand UPCs and tier pricing and all the core issues that are so crucial to success in this industry. So once that process begins, we'll review your product, we'll discuss potential markets for it, and then see if there's a fit. It's a simple process, but it takes a while.
So now we have Justin Hiller. Hiller's Markets have been around for generations. I've grown up with Hiller's Markets in my backyards. They're centrally located mostly in the Detroit area. So Justin Hiller is a, how many generation Hiller?
Third generation.
Third generation Hiller. And they have 8 stores?
We have 7 stores.
7 stores. So Justin Hiller.
We have 7 stores, most in the Metro Detroit area, 1 in Ann Arbor, the rest are in Oakland County. We are a full-service grocery store, so we do have the everyday to gourmet. We like to call ourselves the perfect synergy between affordable pricing and high-quality ingredients, so that people will come to us and they know they can get a good price on Bounty paper towel, but that they can also find, black truffles if they need them. So that we, our customers will oftentimes come to us if they're looking to live a particular lifestyle, whether it be low salt, no salt, gluten-free, if they're looking for good local alternatives. Hiller's, we have huge international sections. We have the largest Japanese selection, maybe in the whole country. People come to us for British, for anything interesting. We do a very good job of tagging items within the store that highlight certain lifestyles, and so it makes it easier for customers to shop. So that's really it. Family business. We have always been about local. We've been around for 75 years in Michigan, born in Detroit, raised in the Detroit area, and we understand that we're all responsible for our own salvation and getting through this economy. And we have always wanted to help cottage industries turn into real businesses and help bring them in and help them grow. So that's been a big part of Hiller's.
Thank you, Justin. So Hiller's Market we consider an independent because they are not what we consider box stores. Box stores would be your Meijer, your Walmart, Kroger, Semi. So Scott Chambers from Meijer will speak next, but keep in mind when you are working through your product, let's say you have the concept in your head, but you really don't know what your target market is, you really need to do your homework and see where your product is a fit for. Is it a fit for the specialty market? Is it a fit for distribution all over the state? Is it ready for box stores? You have to have that clear in your head first and foremost before you even proceed to try and launch your business. You have to have a game plan in place. So now we're going to turn it over to Scott Chambers from Meijer.
Hello, my name is Scott Chambers. I'm the senior grocery buyer for Meijer. I handle dry goods. Our department is kind of split down the middle between what we would call DSD and warehouse grocery.
Can you explain DSD just?
Yeah, DSD would be Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Frito-Lay, those kind of big national brand type products, the snack aisle, the beverage aisle, etc. Dry grocery, the side of the department that I'm on, encompasses most of the products that that you would find here at this show that were shelf stable. So specialty food, canned goods, breakfast cereal, et cetera, et cetera. I've been with Meijer for 25 years. I started in 1989 working in the stores. I spent about 10 years there, then went to the buying office after I graduated college and have been in the buying office ever since as a buyer. I've bounced around many of the different categories in the foods area, everything from dairy products to frozen products to at one point handling literally all of the specialty food in the store. Right now, I specifically am responsible for canned meat, canned fish, soup, and condiments, but I also have some responsibility for the entire department working with the other buyers in the department, and most specifically working with the product center over the last several years to try to bring made in Michigan products to our shelves. Our stores today, we have 213 stores in 5 states. About half of those are here in Michigan. So if we talk about regional Michigan products, we're often talking just about those 100 or so stores, a little over 100 stores now. However, in a number of instances, we've taken products that we've gotten through the product center, gotten to our shelves, and put them in chain wide as well. So we really view specialty products or just mainstream products that are made in Michigan either as regional or local in some instances, or if they do well enough, is something we can kind of bring to the entire chain and maybe even end up in stores in Wisconsin. So I could give a couple of instances of that over the last couple of years where it's been very successful, and we've been very, very happy with the results we've gotten working with the product center at MSU.
Thank you, Scott. So in this room, I know a lot of you are my clients, but how many are actually product center clients? So there's still a big majority of this room that I don't think you quite understand what we can do for you. The product center is a free service, okay, up to a certain extent. Free counseling, initial counseling, trying to create what we call a triage, where we see where the entrepreneur is in the entrepreneurial spirit, to see what the product line is, to see what your fit might be. If we turn you over to what we call specialized services, those are fee-based, okay? Believe me, they're more economically feasible than you just going to Joe Joe's Lab down the street. So the product center really, over the last 10 years, has evolved to this large think tank. It's just incredible the amount of knowledge that our counselor network has. We have 15 counselors throughout the state of Michigan. We have a campus staff of maybe 10 or more that we're all here to represent and help you as the newest Michigan entrepreneur get your product to shelf, okay? In regards to Justin Hiller, we've had a lot of good conversations. They see what the product center is doing and they are embracing us. Just this year, we're going to start a project this month where Justin will be walking the trade show floor looking for a few new entrepreneurs that he might not currently carry in his stores, and we're going to re-promote the product center in Oakland County. We're going to ask that those 3 clients come and showcase their products, open it to his customer base, and we're going to try and do that either on a quarterly, we discussed either quarterly or if it's successful, maybe a monthly basis, because not enough people know about the product center. Most of our clients come from word of mouth, comes from businesses that have already launched, and they say, wow, you gotta go see our friends at the product center. Like Evan said, if you're missing your nutritional or you're missing your UPCs, hey guys, you really need to go to the product center, get your product legal, and come to us. Same thing with Meyer. Meyer makes sure that the product center has touched upon those products, because then they know that they can feel comfortable that that product is legal, that it was done through proper testing, that it does have the adequate UPC code, that it does have the proper nutritional. So we are a free service, like I said, but the specialized services, those are fee-based, and they're economically feasible for anybody.
City Glass and Mirror features glass for every purpose, servicing both residential and commercial. Their full-service showroom displays every aspect of what City Glass has to offer: handrails, closet systems, replacement windows, bath hardware, shower doors, and custom mirrors. They even offer auto glass and storefronts to see all they have to offer. City Glass and Mirror, located at 100 West 7th Street in Grand Haven and 631 Commerce Court, Suite 10 in Holland.
I believe that the true value of a funeral is the gathering together of people and the sharing of stories. Stories of love and honor, respect and memories. We gather together because we as human beings, we need that contact, that emotional connection that we get when we gather together. We gather together at all sorts of times, at birthdays and anniversaries, at graduations, retirements, weddings, and at funerals. And at each and every one of those gatherings, we tell stories. And it's through those stories that we show our love and respect. It's through those stories that we learn and grow. And it's through those stories that we heal. Gather together, share the stories, celebrate a life, heal the heart.
Buckwheat Schultz & Associates Incorporated, investment products and services. For more information, call 799-9889 or 866-799-9889.
Getting this family together is like herding cats.
Simplifying things for families is a priority here at Grange Insurance. We offer a variety of policies through Grange Independent Agent.
Your partner in protection.
Wanted cars, trucks, vans. Sprague's Auto Parts offers top prices for your wrecked, junk, or unwanted vehicles. Cash on the spot. We pick up or you drop off. For more information, call 231-726-2988. Sprague's Auto Parts, 81 South Getty Street, Muskegon. We buy cars for cash.
Hi, I'm Brenda Harris with Nexus Realty, turning dreams into an address. I support DSETV.
So we're going to open up the floor to questions. Please keep them precise. Point out who you would want to direct the question to, and then we will go from there. So questions? Anybody? Dave?
Actually, my question could be directed to all of them. What percent markup are you looking for so we can come up with a suggested retail price?
Well, since you typically will start with a distributor, our markup is anywhere from a low of about 22% up to, in produce, it could be as high as 33%. And I really want to stress the importance of knowing the difference between markup and margin. Really important distinction, but that's the first markup that you're going to see before you reach the stores if you're going to use a distributor.
You want to go first?
Yeah, at Meijer, we look at it on a category by category basis. If we have a product that we would call specialty, meaning it's high quality, relatively high price for the category, let's say fruit spreads, a jar of Smuckers might be $2.99 and a specialty spread could be $5.99 to $10. We're often looking at new products from Michigan and even some other states where we do similar programs, and we'll try to suggest where we'd like to see that retail come in, where we might feel that we're comfortable with it. If it's too expensive, it might not sell, that kind of thing. And that could drive our margin, our gross margin on that unit, anywhere from 20 to 40%. I would say on average it's usually in the high 20s. I don't know if that answers your question, but then the markup tends to be from when we purchase it based on that. Now, if you're going through distributors into our stores, and we use a number of distributors, that markup could be anywhere from 7% to 20% on the high side. We don't tend to work with distributor markups with our larger distributors higher than that. But it would vary. If it was a frozen product, the markup through the distributor might be a little bit different. It starts to get a little bit more technical. But I work with Tree of Life, Cahey Foods. We have a distributor called Serve You Success that handles a lot of the Made in Michigan products for us, and none of them are over 20% right now. But it's all kind of tied back to what is actually going on in the store as well.
And Justin?
Yeah, just sort of settling off that, and I certainly agree. We have somewhat similar business models. Meijer, Hillers are both union shops. We have a little bit higher overhead, so we pay our employees well. Typically the margin's really based off the elasticity of the item. So if it's an item that's highly competitive, like you mentioned, a Smuckers, that's going to have a lower margin. If it's something that somebody can find in every single retailer, if it's something that's interesting and has a story, then they could be higher than that. We typically, we might run on a 30% blend, but there's going to be some stuff that's lower, that's higher. Depends on whether or not it's in an ad. Be ready to, save some money for ad dollars. That's very important in the retail world. So you need to make sure you're ready to come out to be able to support demos. You're going to need to be ready to come out and spend some money to help share the burden of putting something in a circular. It's extremely expensive for us to print our circulars that go out to, it's 500,000 homes for me, for Meijer, who knows, it's in millions. So.
Does everybody understand categories? So depending on your product, you're going to fall into a certain category, whether it's frozen, dairy, some spice blends or some marinades. Some meat departments pick them up as a meat department item. Some might streamline it into the grocery section. So every product that comes into a Meijer or into a Hiller's goes into a certain category. Condiments, like Scott was saying. So you have to find out where your product would be best supported in. Whether it is in the condiment section or whether it is by the meat department, if you have a marinade or barbecue sauce. It all depends on the individual stores, okay? Any other questions?
With regards to your commitment to Made in Michigan, what's the typical procedure process then that if you were to have a vendor who has a product made in Michigan and you put it on your shelf for a test period, I'm guessing, I would like to know, how long do you give it to to show that it's competitive against maybe a national brand? What can someone expect then?
Okay, that's a great question. For those in the back, the woman is asking that how long do these stores give Michigan products, like a test area? Do they give them 6 months? What's the time frame on how long they're gonna let that product be seen in the stores?
I can start. What we do at Meijer is once a year we sit down with the product center and go through literally hundreds of products that we haven't seen before. We do what we would call a category review for all of those products, even though they're today scattered throughout our department in the individual aisles where they belong. We usually spend about a month meeting with the folks at MSU. And then I actually pick the products for the entire dry grocery department. I bring them to the individual buyers for those categories, if it's a category I don't personally handle. And then we've been the last 3 years or so putting in about 5 or 6 dozen items a year, and then reviewing the items that we put into the stores the prior year, and keeping about the top third of those from the prior year and discontinuing the rest. So the way that we've kind of positioned it is we're gonna pick a certain number of products every year and give them a go and give them a chance in the stores and see what sticks. So we've had some really big successes with that, but at the same time, every year we do discontinue a few items. So we view that the Michigan specific products is really kind of their own little subset, and we handle them kind of off to the side so they don't get lost in the rush that a lot of the big manufacturers create when they're coming to us.
Evan?
Yeah. We're a little bit different, although we do a number of end caps through about 60 to 65 Kroger stores here in the southeast part of Michigan. And the way that program works is very similar to Meijers, but that has a review and a reset every 6 months. But typically the products that are there are given that same 1-year window to perform, or they're likely to be removed on the reset. The real difference with Kroger is that it's being done twice a year on that review basis. When we're working with independent grocers or we're working with small specialty stores, it's a completely different ballgame because that's entirely up to the individual stores and restaurants or wherever we may have the product. So it really can be a long-lasting relationship in some of those, and quite often those are great entry points to get your product recognized before trying to jump into a Meijer or a Kroger or into a Hiller's.
Justin?
No, we're not quite so structured with the category review aspect of it. I mean, my buyers are always watching new products. We have to make sure that it's out at the right seasonal time for that particular item. So sometimes there'll be a gap in between. We might need a second shipment of the product to make sure that we have it at the right time of year. But we're every 3 months, 6 months, we're looking to see how the products are doing. And if it's not doing well, we'll make sure that we're in contact with you and we'll do some review. We'll make sure we're talking about it in the ads. We're trying to tell its story, and we'll give it a good chance. We're all here to promote product and sell product, so we'll continue to work with you if see how it does.
How important is it for you guys to look at made in Michigan products that have multiple items rather than just introducing one item for UPC code? Is it size or
is it product line or is it product specific?
Well, for one thing that I think is important to note is you have to look at the saturation of that particular category. I mean, if you have something like a granola where there are 90,000 different types, then you have to be really careful that it has an interesting story. You can't overload the stores and fill up 20 feet of it. But in terms of launching a new product line, I mean, it's always better to have a little bit more presence. But there's a lot of there's a lot to be said in having starting a strong core first, and then building your line extension based off that. And if you have a concept that's very focused, you could certainly launch with one product line and come out strong and create a good presence and just continue to tell that story by, ad support, demo support, and I don't have a problem with a one SKU launch.
I think, in my perspective, and it really depends on the product category. There are certain types of product that don't do well if you only carry one SKU. Fruit spreads is a good example. If you have a brand new, relatively expensive premium product and all you have on the all I put in the stores is raspberry, it's probably not going to do well, even though raspberry might be the #1 flavor in the category. We've specifically, on a number of lines over the last several years with Made in Michigan products, we specifically put in multiple SKUs in categories like that to give the product a little bit of a little bit of space, so people can see that there's not just that there's a choice, but that it's there and it's not just one jar or one bottle. There are a handful of specialty products, though, that are really standalone items, and I can think of it. It's not Made in Michigan, but the Garlic Expressions marinated dressing. It's a very popular specialty item. It's rather high priced. That's a standalone item. If you have a product like that, and that's 90% of your business, that's a completely different game. If you have a product like Safey's Pickles, we really need to have some choices there. People won't find it.
I don't have a lot to add there. I think that they both said it very clearly. It really depends on that product category. I mean, from the standpoint of looking at a food for thought preserve, for example, we realized we needed to have enough shelf presence to take up space. At the other end of the spectrum, you might have seen Herkner Sisters cherry topping. They started with one product and were very, very successful marketing that one. Now they have gradually expanded their line. So it really is dependent on what your strategy is as well as your category.
ASAP Auto Sales, located at 2486 South Getty Street in Muskegon, offers a wide selection of reasonably priced used vehicles from cars and trucks to vans, SUVs, and four-wheel drives. With new selections coming in every day, ASAP's lot is always full, which means whenever you drop in, there's about 100 vehicles to choose from. With a wide selection of vehicles, both domestic and import, they have it all. ASAP Auto Sales, 231-830-9000.
Living healthy is more than just counting carbs and exercising, it's a lifestyle choice. Embrace sound, natural alternatives, cultivate and sustain a better way to healthy living. The Health Hut offers a wide selection of vitamins, minerals, herbs, medicinal mushrooms, women's and men's supplements, as well as a vast array of skincare and beauty products. Their friendly, knowledgeable staff is always on hand to help you choose the products that best suit your individual needs. The Health Hut. We have your good health in mind.
Whether you're a first-time jewelry browser looking for an extraordinary engagement ring, a couple celebrating your 60th anniversary, or you're just looking to treat yourself or mark an important event, Rothheim & Swanson Gemworks is proud to offer custom-made selections handcrafted in America. Silver, fine-colored gems, diamonds, and gold jewelry, as well as strands of lustrous quality pearls. From ring and watch appraisals to in-house jewelry design and repair, ring sizing, remounting, to a complete rebuilding, you can rely on them to keep your old favorites looking new. K&S Gemworks, Muskegon's community jeweler. Memories made one at a time.
In the 150 years we've been in business, many things have changed. Our greatest achievements are rooted in the things that haven't. Years ago, the person you called banker was also the person you called friend. When it came to service, there were fewer layers and friendlier smiles. And banks earned the trust of their customers and community while working tirelessly not to lose it. At Independent Bank, all this remains true today. Sure, we've made advances that help customers bank more conveniently and more comfortably. But at the end of the day, we know that people really need a trustworthy partner committed to their financial goals, dreams, and aspirations. And we've been happy to be that partner since 1864.
that a donation or are you guys purchasing that?
Justin?
I will, of course, accept all free fills.
Saw that coming.
We understand, the economy is tough on everybody, especially for a startup. I mean, we want to share. We have to share the burden. I can't, it has to go both. Now, a lot of times what we see in food shows are people will split half the case, so you share the cost of everything coming in.
In terms of what we look for specifically with the Made in Michigan companies that we're going to put in the store, we really just want to negotiate at Meijer the best dead net price. We'll work off margins, and that's mainly just to keep it simple because it could be difficult to deal with us through a distributor trying to do free fills and things like that. It just gets too complicated. So typically we have some type of a discussion up front, either through the folks at the product center or occasionally right with the manufacturer, and we say just take everything you've got and give us a dead net cost for the year, for the next 6 months, and we'll work off of that. That's mainly just to try to make it easier for the manufacturer.
Evan?
Yeah, and I would echo that those are the two ends of the spectrum, and everybody treats it a little bit differently. Some ask for a little discount up front, some do want to split that, some just negotiate the best price up front. But getting to Justin's earlier point, you got to make sure that you've set within your pricing structure enough room that you can do something like a TPR, a temporary price reduction, or some type of promotion. Often that is looked at on the first set at some of the smaller places. So it's really all over the board, and to Scott's point, it's gonna be something that you're gonna negotiate right up front, so you have to have a real deep understanding of what your costs are and what you can afford to do. So I can't stress that enough. That's crucial. Their job is to get it on the shelf at the best price. Your job is to make sure that you can keep producing it at that price.
Right, you're going to want to keep hitting that drum beat, and so maybe we put it into an e-blast, maybe it goes into a circular, maybe it's demo support, once a month. So that's more important, is that you have the funds to be able to sustain that drum beat, to get that message out there and push the product.
The way I look at a free fill is, did you get free gas going to the store? Did you get free packaging when you ordered your last shipment? I'm not giving anything away for free. That's why you go in there with heavy dental support, making sure you have that bumper in your pricing structure, that you can afford price drops, that you can afford. But to actually do a free fill, I would rather slit my wrist than give somebody a free product. Because you're giving away your own hours of manufacturing, right? You didn't pay yourself to make the product. So it's costing you almost 3 times what you think it is. Okay? So please, when somebody says free fill, run. Put it into demo support.
Yeah, I would rather have 14 demos than for you to be broke after getting it.
This question might overlap, but when the time comes, how do I ask each of you to consider putting my new product in your store? Or do I just simply go through my brand new best friend, Becky,
Oh, don't start playing that card.
I'll start with that. We really like working with the product center when it comes to real new manufacturers or brands that are just getting started. I think it kind of makes it easier on us, on me, and on you, because they can kind of, as you've heard, give you some tips and pointers, make sure you got all your ducks in a row. And on my end, I've actually looked at products here at the show in the past, and talking with the product center, found, hey, this particular guy's product is really, really great product, very energetic, great salesperson, but they don't have the labeling done. They don't have all of the little checks kind of done to get the product on the store. Let's wait, and then next year I'll look at it again. So it kind of varies. Now, at the same time, Meijer will have 4 or 5 buyers here today just from the dry grocery area, and we might go right up to a manufacturer and here at the show and say, we like your product, call us. Here's my card. So we kind of go both ways. There's some products I saw here last year for the first time that we brought right in through the product center that was part of the review, but I was talking directly to that company right up front at the start because I went directly to them. So it's kind of a mix, but I would say if you've never dealt with Meijer, you're relatively new to this, or you're just getting out of maybe the town you've been distributing in, go to the product center first, and they'll try to help get your product in the door.
If I can interject, just so you know, the Product Center counselor, Matt Burbeck, has been working very closely with Evan Smith, with Scott Chambers at Meijer, with the Kroger people, and they do a product call out where if you're a Product Center client and your product has launched, they will send you a mass email saying that Meijer is now considering products for their fall set of 2015. You know, Kroger is now looking for their new product line of, Christmas. So you get those emails, and then it's up to you to send your products to all the contacts that Matt gives you through the email. So that's a nice plus, because we know that you've already launched, basically. And they know that if they come from us, that they're basically legal and ready to go. So Evan, do you wanna?
No, I think that pretty much sums it up. It is a process. We get unsolicited stuff sent to us all the time. That's fine. We are much more loosely structured because we have a more diverse market base that we're moving products into. So we can take products in any time of year. This show is just great. 10 years ago, I was sitting on the other side, and I think there was probably about 30 companies here that spent most of their time talking to each other.
Yeah.
And if you look at it now, as Scott said, the buyers are coming through in multiple waves, looking for good ideas, looking for products. So this is a fine way to start that process. And it just, you've got to be ready, though. That's the key. Make sure that you have answers to those questions, that your ingredients are in the proper order and they're the right size font, and that your organic certificate is in the right spot close to the label. All of those things are so crucial.
Justin?
With us, it's pretty easy. We host vendor days in our main office in Southfield every other week. We're a small business, so we have fast turnaround. I mean, we can launch a product the same week or the next week if we like it. So it's pretty easy to get in with us, and then we'll start the process.
Awesome. What's over here?
Hi. Basically, I grow mushrooms. I grow mushrooms indoor, gourmet mushrooms in Grand Rapids, and it's a year-round business. I've actually been in touch with your company a few times, Nico, Evan. Yeah. He never mentioned Product Center to me or anything, but he mentioned a lot of other stuff. I found this out through another person that had come through this. But I don't sell in small packaging. I sell to restaurants, 5-10 pound packages through another food hub. And I was just wondering, you guys are mentioning SKUs and UPCs and organic ingredients, and with one product that is going to, only that ingredient, I guess what's my next step, to get to?
I would say a retail package.
Yeah, and I
1
agree
pound.
with that also. I'm doing the food co-ops that way as well, so. But when I talked to Nico, he suggested the 5 and 10 pound is that kind of the direction they wanted to go.
Well, without being privy to the rest of the discussion, as our produce buyer, he was looking at that product going into different markets than into grocery. He was looking at that as a restaurant pack.
As a food service.
As a food
so
service.
Basically, everything I'm hearing is more for food service versus
retail.
Exactly, and that points out a really good point when you're coming to a company like Cherry Capital Foods, because we service those multiple categories. If you come to us saying this is where my product is going, that's the advice that you're going to get from us. Okay, in that market, here's what you need to do. If you said to Nico, for example, hey, really thinking I'd like to try and get this into grocery, well, okay, first of all, it's not gonna go into grocery. It is a produce item, so we gotta look at how that pack's gonna work. Then we would be talking about, let's look at the product center, let's look at your shelf life issues, your packaging, because it's a completely different ballgame. So it's really directed by you to us where you wanna go initially.
The price point is important for an item like that in the produce, so you'll have to look at your cost and look at where your competition would be at to determine whether it's an 8 ounce, 10 ounce, 12 ounce, 1 pound package to hit certain price points for different retailers.
Yeah. I've been looking at it, but I haven't gotten there yet.
Scott, any feedback from Meyer?
I think they've made good points. The one thing I might add is that at Meyer we really deal with products like yours and with products that are labeled for the customer. We do purchase a lot of food service products. We purchase products for our commissary. We have a factory in Indiana where we manufacture a lot of products for deli salads and things like that. And then we have a very large produce department. And I can't speak for your product specifically, but I have dealt with a number of manufacturers over the years that got a hold of me with products that were food service oriented that might need to go to the deli or something. Usually I'll just direct you to talk to that team.
Beginning as a lumber company in 1911, Fredericks Construction has been servicing the Muskegon area since 1969. Family owned and operated, they specialize in roofing, siding, windows, insulation, additions, doors, decks, and more. Located at 1940 Commerce Street in beautiful downtown Muskegon, their phone number is 231-722-3937. When you want quality workmanship, you want Fredericks Construction.
For nearly 9 years, West Michigan Driving Academy has been providing Muskegon County with complete, comprehensive driver's education. Students spend time both in the classroom and on the road in a state-approved driver's education vehicle with state-certified instructors. West Michigan Driving Academy is the only school in Muskegon that offers both day and evening classes throughout the summer. Accident-free with 150 years of combined experience, you will drive safe at West Michigan Driving Academy.
The best way to stay healthy? Exercise your voice. At the new Mercy Health, we believe that carefully listening to you and encouraging you to take an active role in your own health care is an important part of keeping you healthy. So you'll find our extensive network of physicians not only use the latest technology, they focus on what you have to say. Your voice, our expertise. Mercy Health.
Appliance shopping can be confusing. At Seaway Appliance, we make it easy as 1, 2, 3. 1, we have a great selection of home appliances to choose from, and we offer competitive pricing.
2, the staff is friendly and knowledgeable, and our customers can enjoy a no-pressure experience.
3, we have our own professional service department.
Plus, because we're a brand source store, you know you're getting the best deal possible, saving you money.
Where are you going to shop for your next appliance or TV? Seaway Appliance. Thank you for your business.
Seaway Appliance.
Muskegon's Hackley Public Library is an excellent source for help, information, and great entertainment on virtually any topic. The friendly, knowledgeable staff is always available to help you with finding information on any topic you need. They can help you with using the free public access computers, and they look forward to showing you books, audio CDs, DVDs, and much more. Whether you live in the city or outside, the Hackley Public Library in downtown Muskegon is there to help with everything imaginable.
Hi, I'm Wendy from Healthy Focus. We provide home health care services to people in Western Michigan. We can supply RNs, LPNs, home health aides, certified nurse aides to meet your needs and keep you in your home.
Do we have to deliver to each
deliver or you pick up?
At Meyer, we'll almost always put a new product that's coming through the product center specifically through a distributor. So once I've decided I want to carry this product, your product, I would get you in touch with the distributor we've decided to use. We have a couple of them, and I would actually purchase the product from the distributor. But the distributor will know this product is specifically for our Made in Michigan program, and we have a lot more communication with the distributor to handle the products, especially because of that, versus just throwing you into, one of these big, huge distribution companies that will sometimes kind of beat up the little guys. We try to take care of the.
We're going to, in Kroger, be the main point of contact. When Kroger likes the product, they'll do the same process that Scott does. They'll direct you back to Cherry Capital because we're the preferred vendor for their Made in Michigan section. If we're working with an independent grocer, whether it be a Hiller's, a Westbourne's, a Plum's, then they may approach you direct. We may work together. All of that just depends on the way you want to distribute your product and the number of stores that they want it in.
Yeah, I don't have a ton more to add. It depends on the product. Some of it works better in a DSD type situation where you would just drop it off at the store yourself and merchandise it and write all your own credits and do your own thing. It is easier for us to go through a distributor because then it's just one fewer vendor that we have to put through our paying process, our account payable.
How do you handle produce that is grown in Michigan 365 days a year locally?
I buy at the Eastern Market 6 days a week. If you go through the terminal, I'd be able to get it. You could also drop it off to any of the stores if it were an approved, authorized item.
Well, ours is different. Ours is grown aquaponically, so it's not grown in soil. For instance, our herbs, the taste is different, so all the herbs are...
Yeah, it's no different than any other product. It would just go through our normal channels. It would either go through a distributor who would send it on a reefer truck, or you could deliver it yourself, depending on what the best deal is for both of us.
Now keep in mind, if you're going to do your own distribution and it's refrigerated product, that you have the proper equipment to deliver. Because if you go to a store that has that you have a refrigerated product and you're trying to deliver it in your car in a cooler, and it hits their back door at 47 degrees, they will refuse it.
Is the buying, are the buying decisions made centrally or store by store?
I guess it could kind of be both. It depends on the item. All of my stores have slightly different customer bases. Like I mentioned, some of them have a huge Japanese population, some have a strong kosher population, whatever, so it depends on the item.
Fresh baked goods.
We do. Sometimes you bring it in one store to test. Sometimes you try it in 3 stores that are similar. So we will buy for an individual store, but it's one buyer for the whole chain. But he can approve it for one store. And
so sometimes they look at it and they use one store as a test store, and if it really moves in that store, they might carry it at other locations.
Yeah.
I know Hiller's does that. I know Whole Foods does that. If they pick it up in Detroit and start selling, they might put it in the Rochester store. It depends on your movement.
Yeah, at Meyer, our purchasing decisions are made centrally in Grand Rapids. However, we can choose to carry product in every store or just one store. And whether it's fresh baked goods that are going to be delivered, right to that store fresh, or it's sauces in a bottle, we can tailor the specific set or individual store that we feel it's appropriate for. So that's kind of a discussion we would potentially have. I can't speak directly for the in-store bakery area, but we do have in that area, as well as at my own desk in the condiment aisle, products that are distributed locally.
If you're in one of the vendors that I use, or distributors that I use regularly, then our stores are authorized to be able to make purchasing decisions on their own, so sometimes they'll do line extension or test new products. and then tell my office about it, and then they rework the deal.
That cold chain and the preservation of the cold chain is crucial, and under the Food Safety Modernization Act is going to become even more closely monitored. So absolutely it is, and it's crucial that you find a way to get your distribution, whether you're doing it yourself or with a distributor that has the right equipment. For example, we temp our trucks before we load them, we temp the product going on, and then we temp it when we deliver, right as they're temping it at their gate. And so that process is the same all the way through for a refrigerated or a frozen. But frozen presents a little more of a challenge simply because of those temperature ranges and the length of time it's on the truck and what your truck can be set at. So all considerations.
It depends on your type of product and where it's best served. Some baked goods, for example, you are just better fresh, even though it's such shorter shelf life. But frozen product, obviously, with having the extended shelf life, makes it a little easier to sell, but it can get lost in a freezer. So it just depends on the product.
Scott?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add other than from our buying office perspective, if your supply chain is together and you're able to deliver the purchasing on our end for frozen, something that would go into the frozen department behind a door, is pretty much the same process. It's really just a difference in the supply chain, and we can handle frozen product either through one of the distributors we work with or direct through our buying office and our warehouse.
Yeah, Scott and I will, all companies really, will a lot of times bring the product in frozen and then slack it out, so we actually sell it fresh, just pull a little bit out of the freezer at a time, but it's better for us so that we can control our inventory if it comes in frozen. That's very common.
When I was growing up, specialty foods meant usually imported foods, like Greek food and other things of that nature. Can you talk a little bit about country of origin, how important that is, and also what the growing market is for culturally based foods, and where maybe some of the stores that you represent are looking for products that could be supplied domestically for that kind of market, for whether it's Hispanic foods, Asian foods, Arabic foods. Can you talk about how maybe Michigan suppliers could be meeting some of that demand?
I guess I can go first. International as a whole really is taking off. We're always looking for new and interesting, authentic items in a particular category, whether it be Indian, Asian, Hispanic products. That type of stuff really does well. If it's innovations on classic dishes are really taking off, aseptics, pouches, that type of thing, those are really taking off. We're always looking to expand those types of categories, at least at Hiller's, because I always look for the lifestyles or international. And people just love being able to change it up with those quick meal options, the slow cook stuff and the pouches down the aisles. All that kind of stuff really takes off. Just think convenience, because a lot of the younger people, the millennials, that type of thing, everybody just wants everything grab and go, convenient, everything's ready. Innovation on classics.
I'll just add from Cherry Capital's standpoint, we have a requirement that the majority of the value in the product be done here in the state of Michigan. So 51% of that value has to come from within the state of Michigan for us to be carrying that product. That makes it more difficult for many of the items that are ethnic in nature. It's a little easier to do, for example, Mexican type foods, because many of those products can be grown in the state of Michigan. It's much more difficult when you start talking about Middle Eastern or Asian. And so one of the things I think that we're starting to see, however, is that growers, especially organic growers and other small farmers, are hearing this and going, maybe I should be growing some fenugreek if I can. All right, so I really think that's a real mixed bag from a standpoint of Cherry Capital, and certainly from the standpoint of it being labeled Made in Michigan or fitting into that set.
Yeah, 20 years ago, within the grocery industry, it's true, a lot of specialty products were some type of import or some type of product perhaps made in Europe and then relabeled for sale here in the States. And our stores were really heavy with those types of products for many years, and the last couple of years, we've kind of moved toward away from that. Just bringing in, for instance, you know, we still merchandise in some stores a British food section, but we found that that's really not on trend anymore. Just having a whole aisle of crazy stuff from every country you can think of. What we're looking more and more closely at, whether it's made in Michigan or not, is whether the product is on trend, and it's something that customers in one or more of our stores are really going to want. So in the case, for instance, of food for Latino customers, or just more of the Tex-Mex trendy stuff, we're less likely nowadays, for instance, to just build a huge section of La Preferita, for instance, or La Victoria products, and we might actually go sit down with a company making a salsa because we think it's an on-trend product. So I don't know if that answers your question, but in some instances there is a real need for what you might think of as ethnic foods in a particular neighborhood, and we try to identify that versus just a food trend that the general market is catching on to, like natural or clean label or organic labeled products.
I love to shop on the net. Just look at all this stuff.
We're pretty net savvy at Grange Insurance. We understand what the web does well
Buying insurance online, that's another matter.
and not so well.
Your partner in protection.
Your vehicle is an important part of your life. It gets you where you need to go. Take care of it by bringing it to Van's Car Wash and Quick Lube. At Van's Quick Lube, every vehicle gets up to 6 quarts of high-quality Quaker State oils, new oil filter, and a free car wash with every service. If you need a quick wash that is done right the first time, then stop by any convenient Van's Car Wash and experience the hand-scrubbed and Simonized difference. Keep your car running and looking great at Van's Car Wash and Quick Lube. 6 convenient locations, 1 near you.
Established in 1973 by Paul M. Lattis, Lattis & Hoops Law Offices has been a multi-service law firm specializing in accident cases, personal injury, wrongful death, Social Security disability, divorce, probate and wills, and real estate. When it comes to choosing the right attorney for your legal needs, don't choose out of town, choose local legal counsel. It really pays. It's experience when it counts. It's Lattis & Hoops Law Offices.
Low sun and shades, simply fabulous.
You have been kissed by the sun.
The Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired, also known as ABVI, has been serving residents of West Michigan since 1913. An important part of our mission is to advance the independence of people who are blind or visually impaired. We work with people who live with vision loss and teach them new ways. That's what we're all about, taking daily activities that you and I who are sighted take for granted and giving people with vision loss new ways to do those tasks so they can remain independent and live their lives with dignity.
Our phone number is 616-458-1187. That number again is 616-458-1187, or toll free 800-466-8084.
Which would you rather do, this or this? We thought so. For the jobs nobody likes to do, Batka's cleaning service.